This is NTV.
Good evening. It is the 20th day of February 2024. Good evening and welcome to NTV Tonight. The highlights of top stories making headlines tonight.
Tonight,
that the accused persons should not be released on bail.
seeking justice through hunger strike. The irony of Shakahola mastermind and co-accused refusing food in jail. Also tonight,
to me, a pain crisis feels like someone is ripping off my skin and inserting broken glass into my veins. And sometimes I'm unable to talk.
Too weak to take the pain any longer. Kenyan man with sickle cell anemia wants to be assisted to die. Details right here. And
siku moja nikawa naenda kukaa tu side kwa fundi huko najua nafanya nini. Kumbe niko kwa darasa bila yeye kujua.
Refusing to give up. Is Eunice Chirchir Kapsoya's best cobbler? Her story on NTV tonight.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with James Smart.
Well, good evening and welcome. Our Sunlight interpreter is David Agontoa. We start where we should. The government has maintained a hardline stance against the demand by counties to have increased revenue allocation to 450 billion shillings in the next financial year, indicating they will only offer 391 billion shillings. This came up on the second day of the National Executive meeting in Naivasha, where governors also accused the executive of overstepping their mandate in counties. NTV's Ruth Sarmuei has been in Naivasha and begins our coverage tonight from here.
The clash of roles between the national government and governors came up in the closed-door meeting between the executive and the Council of Governors representatives, where COG chairperson Anne Waiguru accused the cabinet of overstepping in their mandate in counties.
I know it can be extremely tempting by the CSs to expand your portfolio, because if you're given a portfolio that you think, especially if you've come from politics, that you're not going to the ground, that maybe it is limiting you. Let me urge you, please resist that temptation. It can never augur positively on this government. And we have worked very hard to restrain from having fights publicly.
The reason why we asked the council to come and have a session with us as we have this National Government Executive Retreat is because I wanted ministers here and their principal secretaries to understand that the counties are our partners. They are not our competitors.
The headline by counties to have an increased equitable share of 450 billion shillings in the financial year 2024-2025, as was proposed in the final budget policy statement, seems far from over after the government asked the counties to be realistic. Treasury had allocated 391 billion shillings to the counties.
Counties do not operate in a vacuum. Counties operate within the overall framework of the national government. So they had a desire of a certain figure, but it is all, as we said, we want to manage prudently, realistically, and within our means.
The Executive Council meeting ends on Wednesday. Ruth Sarmuei, NTV.
the court in Mombasa has ordered controversial preacher and Shakahola massacre prime suspect Paul Mackenzie and 94 other suspects hospitalized after staging a hunger strike that left them too weak to attend a court session on Tuesday. The Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, DPP, told the court in Mombasa that medical practitioners would examine the suspects on their nutrition and health condition. NTV's Brian Mushiri with that story.
As they alighted from the police vehicles, several suspects appeared too frail, forcing the police and the court to raise an alarm over their well-being. The suspects, majority of whom were women, ended up lying on the floor of the court's holding room after High Court Judge Alex Ithuku instructed the police to hold the suspects in the court's holding room to allow their lawyer to represent them before him. The prime suspect, Mackenzie, maintained a steady sitting position while the co-accused exhibited feeble gestures. According to the prosecution report, the accused are said to have staged a 3-day hunger strike while in custody. A fortnight ago, Mackenzie and 29 other co-accused persons were charged with the murder of 191 children whose bodies were exhumed from Shakahola Forest. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, opposed the release of the suspects, arguing that the suspects were a flight risk.
It is the position of the state that the accused persons should not be released on bail.
In June last year, one of Mackenzie's followers died while in police custody from a hunger strike. Brian Mushiri, NTV.
And 2 days to the burial, the burial of the late world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, and DCI Director of Homicide Martin Nyuguto has now joined in the investigations on the death of the star athlete who died in an accident along the Eldoret-Eldorama Ravine Road 1 week ago. On this day, DCI Director of Homicide Martin Nyuguto led a team of his colleagues from the DCI Homicide Unit in fresh probe of the death of the late Kelvin Kiptum and his coach Javis Hazikimana. The detectives spent the better part of the day retracing the steps of the late Kiptum's hours to his demise. Their first stop was Ruper's Mall, where the late athlete was believed to have spent some time hours before his death. Next, the DCI visited Annex Estate, and in particular a restaurant in the estate where detectives believe was the late Kiptum's spot, before journeying his way home at Chepkorio along the Eldoret-Eldorama Ravine Highway. Later in the afternoon, the detectives spent a big chunk of their time on the scene of the accident that took the life of the late world record holder alongside his coach on the night of Sunday 11th. Here, they made fresh forensic investigations to answer the question, how did the late Kelvin Kiptum veer off the highway, causing a depression on the immediate walkway to his right before hitting a tree? Now, the tug of war between the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, and the Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, seems to be far from over. This emerged when NAT officials appeared before the National Assembly's Committee on Education. NAT Secretary General Collins Oyu pointed an accusing finger at TSC, citing laxity in addressing teachers' grievances. 2 weeks ago, NAT boycotted a stakeholders' engagement by the TSC on the proposed amendments to the Teacher Service Commission Act of 2012.
2 weeks ago, we wrote to Teacher Service Commission that we were not going to participate in the stakeholders meeting that had to talk about the TSC Act amendment. One, what was in the amendment proposals were even harsher than what we have in the Act now and the Code of Regulations. We wanted Teacher Service Commission to involve us as true representatives of these teachers. And we told them in black and white that we are not stakeholders, but we are stakeowners. We cannot be taken to participate on issues that are so punitive.
Now, ever heard of euthanasia? Well, in simple terms, it is medical-aided suicide that terminally ill patients opt for when they cannot take the suffering any longer. In Kenya, a man who has lived with sickle cell anemia for 28 years wants to undergo euthanasia, but he cannot because the procedure is not legal here. Helen Aura has that story.
Life, they say, is not a bed of roses. It has ups and downs, the good and the bad times. But imagine reaching a point when all you just want is to end your journey. Well, this is the story of 28-year-old Joe Mudikiza, a sickle cell patient who thinks he has suffered long enough and now wants doctors to end his life. So determined is he that he has sought and received support from a Belgian organization to perform euthanasia, the aided killing of patients. Well, what does Joe's life story tell us about the terminally ill in Kenya? And what can doctors and those close to him do to save his life?
I come from a family of 5 siblings. I'm the second born. And I'm the only one who had sickle cell. When I was still in primary school, I used to have medication all the time, and I had a timetable for the medicine. And I kept on asking my mom why I'm on medication, and she always told me that I was a special child. When I was in high school, that's when I was told I had sickle cell. I was in and out of school. Most of the time, everybody was avoiding me because they did not understand what it was and what I was going through. So whenever I was in pain or I had a pain crisis, everybody would move away. So there will be rumors around the school, I'm a devil worshipper or something, I'm in a cult. Sometimes there will be a lot of those, but I got to a point where I just got used to it. If I managed to get 10 things, I was a teacher of English and literature, but after some time, I decided to quit because of my condition. I can't be standing in class for an hour and then I get a crisis. Bring the child. When I was a child, I don't remember being in too much of constraints with the condition until last year, April. That's when my condition kind of worsened. The doctors kept on poking my veins, so most of my veins have collapsed, so they can't access any of my peripheral veins. It made me to become weaker by day. I have a crisis every day, from morning to evening. To me, a pain crisis feels like someone is ripping off my skin and inserting broken glass into my veins. And sometimes I'm unable to talk because the moment I talk, each and every word that comes from my mouth feels like I'm chewing razor blades and swallowing them. So and by the time I finish uttering just one word, it feels like I've swallowed 100 razor blades. So when I'm in pain, most of the time I'm inactive. Euthanasia is one of the last options a patient could have. In most cases, not in most cases, in all cases, is a patient who has to decide without being coerced. It's something that I've been considering for like the past 5 months. So I've thought about it, and I've even thought about it when I'm not in pain. So it's not something that I decided because of pain. It's something that I decided that I really want to do it to get my peace. Of course, when I applied for for the assisted suicide in Belgium. I was asked, I was given, there's a lot of documents that were sent for me to go through so that I can make a decision based on myself. So they sent everything through my email for me to go through. Of course, I went through everything, and then I told them I was ready. I got a form that was supposed to be signed by two of my attending doctors and a therapist. So I called most of the doctors that I've talked to. All of them declined, but then I replied to Belgium and told them that all my physicians have declined to sign. But then they gave me a way out. They told me that I can travel to Belgium and then be evaluated by Belgian doctors.
Most people had the idea that ending life is aimed at alleviating pain and suffering. But from a quasi-legal perspective, is the intervention taken to end life on medical basis? What quality of life is someone entitled to? I know it's a skittish issue due to cultural basis, religious basis, but it's an issue we'll have to face sooner than later. And Kenya is unlikely to allow it through legislative mechanism unless it's a judicial intervention.
No. My mom has been asking me to go home now, whereby now my mom has to take another burden again and decide for me everything. Yeah, she didn't know that I had made such a decision until I think yesterday. She got wind of the information and then she sent me a message in the morning. Yeah, she's 100% not on board. I had actually done an appeal online for to get support to go through medication and the surgeries, but it was not enough. Now I'm unproductive and I'm becoming more unproductive, and this one I'm in pain most of the time, from morning to evening. I'm in pain and it's not giving me any chance to do anything. My dad died of cancer. So I saw him when he got to a point where he was in hospital, and he got to a point where he's the strongest person I had seen since I was a child. But it got to a point where he could even cry like a child, because now he's unable to take care of himself. He can't go to the toilet by himself. He has to be assisted by my mom. So I didn't want to go until a point where I'm like my dad. My kids are going to see me like that strong person who is no longer strong anymore. I'm still going through the process. The only thing that is remaining is to get a visa, because I've already submitted everything that was needed, including the evidence and proving that beyond reasonable doubt that I'm qualified for the process.
Well, the story of Joe Mudikiza is certainly heartbreaking. One only hopes that he gets the reprieve that he's asking for. Well, taking a short break. When we come back, business news.
ataenda kucheza nje na hii baridi yote. Why did you let him go? Si atagonjeka.
Sasa asipofanya tizi, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways. And Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Now introducing the new 125-gram Dettol soap at only 200 shillings.
How do you keep your toilets clean? I use normal detergent and bleach for washing. The detergent and bleach cleanless can leave behind yellowness, rust, and germs. Harpic's 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach, and kills 99.9% illness-causing germs in your toilet, including the COVID-19 virus.
I've got a plan that throws a huge party. Every time I check my balance.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
This is the best serum I've ever used.
9 out of 10 agree Garnier Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum is the best they've used. Our highest concentration of derm actives.
Made my skin tone more even. Brightens up my skin with an instant glow.
Bye-bye, dark marks. Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum. 9 out of 10 agree it's the best serum they've used. By Garnier, naturally.
Hello, uko?
Ndio natoka job.
We, imagine watu wamerudi huku tena na wako na watu wa survey. Wewe kwanza unafuatilia story ya shamba ama bado umekaa tu huko? Hii shamba ni yako. Usikubali mchezo inaendelea. Umesikia? Usikubali.
Si tu.
Hebu fuatilia mambo ya title deed na kuja offense. Unacheka hapo yani mtu mzuri. Angalia hii shamba. Mika ni wewe. Wangenijua. Mtu anatoka kule, alafu ana hello?
Hii ni yako. Buka na Shakei. Jishindie shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings. Lori za mawe na mchanga. Dial *570 hash. Cheza lucky game.
Nitadial *570 hash.
Wiki hii katika kupatana.
Mimi bibi yangu nilimpenda sana. Sijui ni hisia zilimshuka ama ni vipi. Mimi nilikuja kujiona kwamba nimevutiwa na dada yake.
Ni kitu singedhani inge happen. Ningewakaribia tu hivi. Kai.
Let's take a look at the business news. My name is Nina Shaban. Consumers will pay more for fuel after the government tripled the tax payable to the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority for every litre of the commodity purchased. Now, Cabinet Secretary of the Energy sector last week increased the petroleum regulatory levy to 75 cents per litre, up from 25 cents. And the levy is one of 9 taxes and levies that are charged on fuel and has been increased to fund the operations of the energy regulator. Others are excise duty, road maintenance levy, petroleum development levy, railway development levy, anti-adulteration levy, merchant shipping levy, import declaration fee and value-added tax. Increase of the levy last week went largely unnoticed during last week's fuel prices review because the energy regulator reduced the overall price of fuel by 1 shilling per litre. Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir last week published the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority Petroleum Levy Regulations 2024, giving effect to the new charge. Machakos Governor Vivian Ndeti has asked the National Treasury to release money to counties in good time in order to enable counties deliver services to the people and further avoid pending bills. That is said, counties continued to experience difficulties in delivery of services due to delays, adding that Machakos County received disbursement for November from the Exchequer just last week, but had continued to pay salaries and deliver services without fail due to prudent financial management.
Excellency, Honorable Wavinya.
Stera Militi, budget.
The Aga Khan Hospital now targets about 600,000 patients in Western Kenya in and outpatient health services after unveiling the expansion of the health facility in Kisumu. Now, the development of the new facility that started in 2021 was enabled by AFD loan of $10.96 million and $8.3 million from Aga Khan Hospital internal funds. The new building has a dedicated accidents and emergency unit, a large extensive care unit, a vast neonatal intensive care unit, and a fast sleep lab in the region with emerging technology to diagnose and treat sleep disorders.
We are looking at partnering with community health promoters in different areas. One would be screening. There's a person today who may be walking around and is not able to see. They think it's just not able to see. In reality, either they have diabetes or they have hypertension. So we are going to be involved in screening with community health promoters in the different counties that we are in. So we are already in discussion with some of them, and one of the areas that has come forth is that they need the training. So they've already been equipped, but they need the training. So we are going to partner with the counties that we work in training these community health promoters, be able to identify areas that we can improve their healthcare, and now journey towards the referral.
Business news has come to an end. My name is Nina Shabana. Coming up, choosing resilience over giving up. Eunice Chiche's story up next.
To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Now introducing the new 125-gram Dettol soap at only 200 shillings.
The Motindum liquid electronic device reaches every corner, giving your loved ones a peaceful sleep. Together, we can fight to end malaria.
Motindum, Kenya's #1 choice.
Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Get a cancer cover from as low as 750 bob per month. Na pia, ukiwa admitted Hosi, unapata chapa daily. For each day hauko hustle, for as low as 1,250 bob per month. Unangoja nini? Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Visit today na ujipange na life.
¿De qué parte son? No, no está cerca del mar.
Yo de aquí,
Mira,
¿tú de qué parte eres?
del norte.
Es una zona cerca de Uruguay, pero...
Imagine Lotomoto ukicheza na 30 bob una stand a chance to win Shakia 1.1 million. Na ukicheza na 50 bob unaweza get shake na lori za mawe na mchanga.
Sasa wacha hiyo. Ukicheza na 50 bob kwa website yao, imagine unaweza angukia mathri mpya.
Chance yako ya bizna ndio hii. Na ushindi ni 5th of May. Cheza Lucky Game kwa www.ebet.co.ke na uvuke na mathri.
All right, welcome back. You're watching NTV tonight. To Eldoret now, where we find Eunice Chirchir, a mother of 6 who has ventured into a male-dominated field. For the last 10 years, Eunice has been working as a cobbler in Kapsoya on the outskirts of Eldoret town. Our reporter Gabriel Kudaka visited her workstation, and here is the story.
Kwa majina yangu kamili naitwa Eunice Chirchir. Mimi ni mkaaji wa hapa Kenya Service, lakini ni msaliwa wa Baringo County. Nilikuja hapa 2010 na nikajaribu kutafuta kazi yote ambayo ningeweza kufanya, lakini kazi ikakuwa ngumu. Mpaka siku moja nikakumbuka wakati mmoja nilikuwa nashona viatu mahali. Niliona kuna wakati nilipeleka kiatu yangu kwa fundi na nikaona tu vile anatunga. Nikaona si mbaya na anatunga vitu vizuri, nikakopi tu na nikakuwa na hiyo idea. Siku moja nikawa naenda kukaa tu site kwa fundi au kwa najua nafanya nini. Kumbe nilikuwa niko kwa darasa bila yeye kujua. Wengi wanafika wananiambia wapi fundi? Naambia mimi ndio fundi. Wanasema are you serious? Naambia lete nijaribu nione kama naweza fanya. Na baada ya kushona anasema hakika wewe kweli ni fundi. Na nikaendelea hivyo mpaka sasa hivi wamenizoea, wamenijua. Asubuhi naamkanga mapema. Nafanya wantu kama ni kupalilia mboga, kulima kidogo. Halafu najitayarisha na kuja kazi. Na nimebarikiwa niko na watoto 6. 2 girls, 4 boys. Nimeanza kusomesha nao watoto hii kazi, ninalisha nao. Being a single mother for almost 20 years now. Yes, I am talking now, watoto wangu wawili wanaenda kumaliza college. Watoto wamemaliza form 4. Mmoja tu ndiye amebaki kwa primary. Tangu watoto wangu wamekuwa wakubwa. So na mimi nanunua tu shopping. Nikifika wamepiga. Ni kazi ambayo wewe silala njaa. Inalipa. Kwa mama nawaambia tuchipe moyo. Tufanye kazi ili watoto wasome. Nyumba ni mama. Na kama nyumba ni mama utakaa tu uletewa, kwa sababu kama ulipatika kuwa na mtu wa kuleta kila siku, in case of anything watoto watasimama na nini.
She's the first female for me to see akifanya hii job na anaifanya poa sana, pia ako affordable. So like and she's trustworthy. Unaweza leta hapa and then ukujie anytime you want.
Nimeshonewa viatu na mafundi wengi, lakini yeye she's perfect. Na kuanzia hiyo siku nilianza kuambia marafiki kuna mama hapa anashona viatu vizuri nini.
Ni challenge kukaa kwa chuo kama mvua kama jana. Mungu akinichalia pesa kiasi fulani naweza kondesha nyumba, na mara nikifaulu nipate charani na ninunue materials, nipate kunda mpya, ni supply kwa mashule. Hiyo ni maono yangu.
Well, what a lovely story, Eunice Chirchir there. That marks the end of our live broadcast tonight. But right after the break, we tell you the story of Mombasa's 3 decades wait for a slaughterhouse in 12 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is James Smart.
¿De qué parte son? No está cerca del mar.
Yo de aquí,
Mira,
¿tú de qué parte eres?
del norte.
Es una zona cerca de Uruguay, pero...
Although the cause of cervical cancer is not well understood, 99.7% is caused by the human papilloma virus. HPV is a sexually transmitted infection affecting 80% of all women by age 50 years. The National Cancer Institute is accelerating action towards elimination of cervical cancer to reach targets 90-70-90 by 2030, as per the recommendation of the World Health Organization, WHO. Take your girls aged 9 to 15 years for vaccination against HPV, and screening is recommended for all women who are sexually active and targets those aged 25 to 49 years. The National Cancer Institute Kenya, towards a cancer-free nation.
Lontavera, disongoshira verera, ontasera.
The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Water Sector Trust Fund, the Council of Governors and other collaborating institutions welcome you to the Water and Sanitation Investors Conference at KICC, Nairobi, Kenya, from 6th to 8th March 2024. The theme of the conference is Accelerating Investments for Sustainable Access to Water and Sanitation for All. To participate in the conference, visit www.wasic-invest.ke. See you there. Water Sector Trust Fund, financing the water sector.
Tukoona shake na mawe shaanza kumwagwa. Title deed ndio hii. Jishindie shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings. Lori za mawe na mchanga. Dial *570#. Chase the lucky game.
Mombasa is home to nearly 1.4 million people. My name is Kevin Mutai, and this is a deep dive into a story of a lucrative meat and livestock industry in a city without a slaughterhouse in 12 minutes. The center of tourism at the coast, home to historic sites, a place known for street food. But Mombasa lacks what is ordinarily found in towns and cities: abattoirs. But it hasn't always been this way. In the 1970s, one existed in Makadara area, which supplied the region with meat. Locals tell us it ceased operating in 1980s after the land was allegedly grabbed.
Wakati wa utoto wangu kufumbua macho yangu niliona soko iko Mombasa pale Makadara, ambapo ilikuwa ni ya Waarabu na Wazungu wamefungua soko kule. Kutoka ilipokufa soko hiyo ikawa hakuna soko huku kote private tupu.
More than 3 decades later, the meat industry in Mombasa is dependent on the abattoirs in Mariakani, Mazeras and Vipingo in the counties of Kwale and Kilifi for the animal flesh. This 40-year-old slaughterhouse at Wanjawandege in Kilifi County supplies meat in the entire region, but according to traders here, Mombasa has the largest market. The slaughtering exercise begins at 8 p.m. after the Isha prayers and done in accordance with Islamic practices. Cows, sheep, goat and even camels are slaughtered here. Most of the animals are brought from as far as Ethiopia and Somalia, transported through several counties in the north, eastern and the coast provinces. After slaughtering, dozens of meat traders will be waiting to transport the meat to their destinations and distributed across the 3 coastal counties of Kwale, Mombasa and Kilifi.
Soko kuna ile local, kuna ile za kijiji karibu na kuna ile ambayo unaenda county zingine kama Ukambani, Kambu, ama unaenda Garissa County, ama unaenda Migori. Na kuna ile county kama Kwale County ambayo unaenda mpaka Mangulu ama unaenda Kinango siku ya Alhamisi, siku ya Jumatatu, Bamba Wednesday.
Idadi kubwa ya nyama kutoka hapa inaenda Mombasa town. The coastal city of Mombasa is our biggest market. Yes.
Kiwango unaweza kadiria kama ngapi hivi?
Daily something close to 6 tons. Yes.
A veterinary officer is always on site during the slaughtering. He says sometimes he encounters sick animals whose meat can be deadly if sneaked into the market.
Magonjwa ambayo tunapatana nayo sana hapa ni hasa upande wa pwani, ni haya magonjwa yanaletwa na hawa mbungo. Mbungo wanashika ng'ombe, alafu ng'ombe inakonda, nyama inakuwa iko majimaji, haiwezi kulika. Sasa ile nyama huwa tunaitupa, maana kwa haifai kuliwa. Ndio magonjwa ambayo tunapambana nayo sana huku katika vichinjo vyetu huku pwani.
Nyama inayotoka hapa ni salama kwa matumizi ya binadamu popote pale. Tuna operate kama local slaughterhouse na wafanyabiashara kutoka sehemu zote ambao wananunua nyama wanakuja hapa kujinunulia nyama ama mifugo hata.
Meat is part of the Kenyan cuisine, and Mombasa, being a tourist destination, makes the demands for the popular delicacy even higher.
Kwa siku moja ng'ombe inaweza kuja hata kama ng'ombe 1000, lakini ile kuchinja kwa usiku kidogo, kazi iko chini sana. Ng'ombe ambaye tunachinja usiku hapa ni 30, ikienda juu ni 40. Na hiyo nyama hata Marekani ambaye ile percentage inakula ni kidogo, ni 2%. Ile 98% inaenda Mombasa mpaka Kilifi.
Soko kubwa ni Mombasa.
Soko kubwa kupeleka nyama ni Mombasa.
Hawa wafanyabiashara wa soko hapa wanapata shida sana. Manake hawalali. Mtu anatembea na gari usiku kucha kufuata nyama. Mpaka akipata nyama na akija akifanya hivi pia kuuza, hiyo ni shida. Lakini lao itapatikana ile kichinjio kikiwekwa hapa, itakuwa hata mtu anaweza kuuza nyama ikiisha anarudi hapo anachukua anauza nyama. Lakini hivi sasa akishauza nyama ikichakwisha, sasa yeye basi anaenda kulala.
There are areas where locals are slaughtering animals illegally, especially goats, in areas such as Majengo and Kikoani, disregarding the importance of inspections or adherence to food safety.
Kwa nini hiyo hivyo? Si tunasikitika kwa nini tunakosa slaughter? Miaka mingi tunateseka.
In 2020, former President Uhuru Kenyatta transferred the Kenya Meat Commission to the Ministry of Defense, paving way for the military takeover of the facilities. The state farm was reportedly on its deathbed, and the move was aimed at boosting operations and to guarantee its revival. The parastatal owns a factory in Kibarani, but locals cite difficulties in accessing the facility for meat and the insufficient quantities to feed the entire coastal region. KMC has outlets in Likoni, Nyali, Makupa and Changamwe selling its already packaged products.
Haitusaidii chochote ile. Haitusaidii chochote. Slaughter imepewa wanajeshi. Sasa sisi tutafanya nini? Sisi raia tutafanya nini?
Na mkienda kununua nyama kule wanajeshi kule KMC?
Kuna sheria nyingi sana ambao hakuna mtu mwenye bucha yote anaenda kununua nyama. Unaweza kwenda kununua nyama pale. Huwezi.
Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics show that in 2018, the growing appetite for meat propelled the livestock sector turnover, hitting 146 billion shillings, and the port city is missing out on this chunk of the revenue cake.
Ng'ombe yenyewe inatoka sijui Tana River huko ipite magari sijui ngapi huko ndio iletwe huko. Ikiletwa huko pia transport unakatwa, ukifika huko nyama ni kama yani tuseme magari matatu itapanda Tana River, ikifika Kilifi na bebwa na Kilifi na kuja Vipingo. Ama tupeleke Mariakani. Gharama imezidi sana.
But despite being a lucrative business, traders are also facing setbacks that require a proper framework to save them from middlemen.
Hapa kuna watu wanadai mamilioni. Mtu unampa mali na agreement na invoice kwa receipt baadaye anakuambia kitu imeharibika. Yaani hakuna utaratibu fulani ambaye mahali ambayo uzampeleka mpaka kulipe mali yako hakuna. Ni yeye mwenyewe amua kulipe ama akikataa imeenda hivyo.
But that is not all. The lack of a slaughterhouse in Mombasa, coupled with the high cost of living, is affecting traders in the meat industry and the whole value chain.
Manake bucha ziko lakini hazina nyama. Bucha ni nyingi sana lakini hazina nyama.
Meat today is not very cheap. So whatever we are doing is not much because the market does not, people are not eating meat kama vile they used to eat meat. Coastarians were associated with a lot of meat before because our towns are always busy with activities and tourism and stuff like that. But now because of the cost of meat, kidogo the consumption has gone down.
Nyama ya mbuzi ni ghali sana saa hii. Si maskini hizi kula. Nyama ng'ombe kidogo iko cheap kuliko ya mbuzi.
Some of the butchery owners in areas such as Bombolulu, Kisimani and even Dikoni are now selling up to 40 kilograms of meat per day as compared to over 100 kilograms in the previous years.
Sasa mtu akinunua ni nyama ya 100 ama 50. 50 tunakataa kwa sababu hawezi kupima nyama 50. Sababu kilo ni 540. Sasa mtu ukimwambia hakuna nyama 50 anakasirika, itabidi kwa sababu yeye pia hawezi kumudu kimaisha. Sasa ndo maisha hivyo iko. Si kama zamani watu walikuwa kila nyama kilo 2, kilo 3.
The county government of Mombasa says there's a budgetary allocation for the construction of an abattoir in Bonje, but wrangles over land threatens to slow down the project.
Mimi mwenye nimeingia na hii serikali ya sasa na sisi tumeangalia pale ambapo pana pengo tujaribu kujaza. Tujaribu kuziba ambapo manake penye mahitaji tuyalete mahitaji yale. Tuwapatie wakazi wa Mombasa manake katika ahadi zake mheshimiwa ilikuwa ni kujenga uchumi, kusawazisha miradi ambayo iko kwenye hii kaunti yetu. Kwa hivyo sasa sisi tuwafuatilia hayo kwamba hakuna kichinjio, tujaribu kuleta kama kwanza manake muungano na Kenya Meat Commission na pia kujenga.
Local traders want the county and national governments to set aside 10 acres of land at the special economic zone in Dongokundu for the construction of a modern slaughterhouse.
Hata tunaweza kuchinja ng'ombe 1000 inachinjika mara moja. Kwa sababu hii itajengwa ya kisasa, ya digital. Sio ile ya analog. Hii kichinjio itakuwa ni ya kisasa. Ina operate kwa masaa kidogo tu kila kitu, manake tutaletewa mashine za kisasa. Kwa hivyo itakuwa hakuna shida.
Hiyo slaughter inaweza beba watu zaidi ya 7,000. Zaidi ya 7,000 wanaweza pata ajira hapo. Na slaughter ya kisasa ya masaa 24. Sio slaughter mtu anaweka slaughter ikifika mtu anachukua ng'ombe yake ikifika saa 5 ameuza amefunga. Ajua ataenda wapi kununua nyama tena.
But in the meantime,
tuko na mradi ambao tunataka kuanzisha wa kuingia kwenye muungano pamoja na kitwaje Kenya Meat Commission, kwa sababu wao tayari wako na infrastructure na framework ambapo sasa katika ile wakati ambao tutakuwa tunaendelea kujenga wao watusaidie na wale ambao wana mifugo yao hapa Mombasa.
With the proximity of the port of Mombasa, traders are also hoping to capitalize on the multi-million livestock industry by exporting the live animals and meat. In 2022, 14,000 goats and sheep were exported to Oman amid the growing demand for the animals across the Middle Eastern countries.
This is NTV.
Step up to more fun and get more than you pay for. Upgrade now and get boosted to the next package for free. Dial *423# or call 0711 066 000 and upgrade to the next level for free.
when you're finally released from pain. That moment when you start to get back to ordinary, and ordinary feels amazing. Whatever pain you're going through, release starts here.
When your kids bond with you, you're giving them a great start. Prestige Margarine. It all starts with a great start. Now comes in the original and vanilla flavor.
Wiki hii katika kupatana.
Mimi bibi yangu nilimpenda sana. Sijui ni hisia zilimshuka ama ni vipi. Mimi nilikuja kujiona kwamba nimevutiwa na dada yake.
Ni kitu singedhani inge happen. Ningewakaribia tu hivi. Kai.
This International Women's Day, we celebrate the power, grace, and unwavering determination of our fellow women. We invite all ladies to the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club for a unique golf experience. Embrace the spirit of competition and cheer for female excellence.
Trade your work attire for a nice golf outfit as you tee off a golf tournament unlike any other, celebrating the game.
And as the sun dips below the horizon, in our vibrant Ankara attire, we gather around an elegant dinner for a well-deserved feast.
Savor delectable cuisine and cheers to achievements in sisterhood, and share stories of resilience and strength under a starlit sky.
Tuonyeshe mtu wako, tukwambie tunamjuaje, sawa? Kwa sababu unakataa kutuonyesha mtu wako, tunampata na watu wake. Sasa tuwezi kuambia juu tunadhani wewe pia unakuanga umemuiba. Sasa tunadhani hao ndio wenyewe. So wewe tuonyeshe mtu wako, ndio hata sisi kwa bahati mbaya tusiteleze, tujipate hapo.
To get, tuonyeshe mtu wako as your skiza tune. Dial star 812 star 804 hash.
Skiza na Nation.
During his career, Thomas Tuchel has rarely been out of work, taking time off between jobs, but always landing a top role. From Mainz to Borussia Dortmund, to PSG, to Chelsea, to Bayern Munich, Tuchel has built an impressive and winning career. But that career might be about to take another detour, with Tuchel under pressure and perhaps set to be out of work.
Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Get a cancer cover from as low as 750 bob per month. Na pia, ukiwa admitted hosi, unapata chapa daily for each day hauko hustle for as low as 1,250 bob per month.
This is NTV.
The Inside Story, confronting the climate crisis. Global temperatures are on the rise. What can we do to make a difference? What are the potential consequences of inaction? Join us on The Inside Story for an in-depth look at the climate crisis and the solutions that are being proposed.